Okay, all right. Hello, everyone. So, this is our very, very first episode of
Yep.
Coffee and Cigarettes, the podcast where we basically talk about anything and everything.
Anything and everything that has existed and ever will exist.
Exactly. That's basically our mantra.
Exactly.
So, we are the hosts. My name is Joseph.
My name is Ryan. Are you laughing at my name, buddy?
Yeah, I think
My name's funny to you?
So, Ryan, why don't you start us off with this podcast? With this first ever episode.
Alright. Okay, so at first, Joseph wanted me to log. So it's Monday, June 22nd. And this is officially the last week of high school for us.
So basically the way we're going to be structuring this is we're going to be doing an episode a day for the next 7 days. So today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And
Yep.
maybe one on Monday. So we're viewing Monday as the first official day where we are not high school students. We have graduated and we're never going to be in that position ever again. So yeah, let's kick this off.
Kick this off.
All right.
Oh yeah, bro. What happened to your to those teachers? What do they say?
All those teachers. Yeah. So I basically spoke with my European history, my AP European history teacher, and my AP English teacher for the last 3 hours, I think. So
3 hours.
Yeah,
Bro, what
yeah,
the fuck?
yeah. That's why I was late. That's why you were waiting at your house that long, because
Bro, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's starting to be his teacher before. I don't know.
Yeah. So basically, I was in the commons at the school, and my teacher, my teachers, Mrs. Kushlik, Mrs. Azari, they were just sitting at these tables, and I had no idea what was going on. There was nobody else around. And I just went up to them. They're like, "Yeah, no, we're actually sitting here because students are going to be coming and dropping off their books." So I was like, "Oh my goodness!" It looked like they were running a flea market or something. It was such a bizarre sight. So, and it just so happened to be my European history teacher and my English teacher. So we just started talking, and it was an insane experience. I talked to them a lot in the past, but individually. I never got to talk to them back to back, like back and forth. It was a very strange experience. We just talked about films. Mr. Kush, like you know Mr. Kush, like he's actually so well versed in film history, which I was really surprised about. So we just talked about films and he gave
Smart
suggestions
guy.
and stuff. Oh yeah, very smart guy. Mr. Azari, I mean, he's one of the most intelligent, wise, caring, and understanding people I know. What Aristotle was to Greek philosophy, Mr. Azari was to the English classroom, That's the best way I could describe it. But yeah, no, it was just an awesome time talking to the both of them. But hey, I mean, how'd you spend your weekend, man?
On my weekend, I was recovering from what happened on Friday. That shit was fucking crazy. I'm sorry, but we can't talk about it due to some specific reason. But it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, him and I just we experienced something very very eye
It
opening.
was a bad. We went to the protest on Friday.
Oh yeah,
the
the
Black Lives Matter protest.
Yeah.
And then we were filmed and shit. And then, first off, I lost my contacts. My contacts slipped off, which sucked.
And
then we got lost in downtown.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 a.m. And then some other shit happened that was kind of bad.
Yeah.
And then
I guess we'll fill in all the details
at a later date when it's all settled down.
Yeah. When you know what? How about this? How about we disclose all the details on the last day? It just has a little.
Last day. It's just a little sprinkle, little donut rainbow dust in there.
Exactly. All right.
Bro, the next morning I was like shaking.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
No, like I wasn't shaking, but my heart was kind of like tight,
Oh my goodness! Even in the morning,
I was on edge, man. Yeah.
Dude, that entire Saturday after that, because what I had to after the incident, right?
Yeah.
I had to drop off the equipment at my teacher's place, which actually surprisingly he wasn't too mad about. Like he was actually, I think if anything he just felt bad because we had to go through all that. And I sent him a picture Because I knew I had to convince my teacher that like that this in fact that happened, and I was in it. So I took a picture of it and I sent it to her. So like,
what did you think? Wait, what? What was there to take a picture of?
I'll tell you after. I'll tell you after this.
Take a picture of Harvey.
Wait, what?
Take a picture of Harvey.
No. What the hell? No, that would be weird. But anyways, yes. Yeah. So basically, I sent him the picture. He's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that happened and all that." I went back. I dropped it off, and by the time I came home, it was around like 12:45 in the morning. And as you know, I have work at Costco at 3:30 in the morning, so I didn't even sleep. So just picture this, like after going through all that, not even getting a single second of sleep, waiting till 2:30 or 2:33ish, driving to Costco, and then working 5 hours, and then coming home. Like it was such. I didn't like while I was working there, I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. My brain just was not cooperating at all. And
maybe that's why they laid you off.
Oh yeah. I also basically Costco called me earlier this morning, and they've been sort of hinting at it for a while, but basically I got the job around 1 or 2 months ago at Costco, working as a merchandiser from 3:30 to 8:30, but I got hired purely based on the fact that the demand was extremely high. You know, people buying toilet papers all over the place. So they hired me because the demand was high, and now that the I don't know, the psychological aspect of the pandemic is starting to slow down and people are starting to not care about it, the demand is going down. So I got laid off. But here's an ironic thing though. I got hired when the pandemic was at the peak.
Yeah.
And I got laid off when the pandemic started dying down. It's the complete other way around. So I don't know. I mean, like I'm not too upset at it because now I can apply for the CERB, right? The CERB, so I can get like $2,000 a month.
Were you getting paid $1,000 a month?
Yeah, I was getting around like 1,500 or so a month.
Actually, what the?
Oh no, yeah, 1,500 because I was working 150 hours a month. So
oh shoot!
So I mean, if anything, with this CERB, like the CERB, the Canadian Emergency
benefit, whatever.
Yeah. I'm basically getting more money without working. So if anything, I'm looking at this as a blessing in disguise.
I mean, you still got to log into your you still got to log how you're finding jobs and stuff.
Oh no, because since I technically got laid off due to the pandemic, I'm now eligible.
I know, but I'm pretty sure you have to create a journal entries of how hard you've been searching for jobs during the entire time.
Oh yeah, no, I heard of that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Or did you apply for it?
I'm trying to, but then I haven't done tax returns in a while, so then I have to call them.
Oh, you know what? You can't apply for the CERB because you haven't worked.
It's the student benefit.
Yeah. You have to apply for the CESB.
Yeah,
not the CERB. Yeah, the CESB, it's $1,250 a month. Yeah. But it's still really good though. Like you don't. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The CESB, you gotta. Log, you gotta log and stuff.
I see.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So. Basically, I worked from 3:30 to 8:30 after going through that entire day, and like the day in and of itself was really crazy, because we were at the protests all day long. We were shooting film, so that was our first time shooting color film and stuff, but all that jazz, and so by the time I came home, I just collapsed on my bed, and lights out. Like the moment my head touched the bed, I was gone. I was complete, just like that.
All right.
And I pretty much slept through the entire day. So that's why you didn't hear back from me at all.
No, I didn't call you either because I was like, yo, this guy needs to catch a break.
Yeah. I think if anything, when I woke back up, it was the equivalent of being reincarnated.
What time did you wake up?
I actually don't remember. I don't remember that much from that day, actually. I don't remember a single thing, if anything. But yeah, you know what? Let's talk about the fact that we're about to graduate, man. Like, how do you feel about this?
Mm-hmm.
What's on your mind? Like, what are your concerns, if you have any?
I don't really have any. Like, what's on my mind? Like. It doesn't feel like I'm missing a graduation because I'm not at school, I'm not at a place where we actually celebrate graduation, so it feels like it wasn't even a thing in the first place. Well, to me at least.
Jesus.
So it's not like I'm missing out on anything. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Okay,
much.
so in terms of us not having prom and not having graduation, you're just not, you don't feel bad about it.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, if anything, that's a good thing, man. Yeah.
What was that? What was that, bro?
I don't know. I was trying to think of the next thing to say.
All right, let's.
But yeah,
don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat, man. Like, I don't. Ever since the beginning, when this first started, the first thing that immediately popped in my mind, yeah, the first thing, was that I saw this. I tried to look at this in the best way possible in terms of, oh my goodness. Okay, so this is terrible. This is a pandemic. People are suffering immensely, and instead of becoming stagnant and not being productive and not taking the time to find things to do and grow in some shape or form, I realized that it would in a sense be a disservice to my peers, or well, actually I guess just the pandemic as a whole. I feel like if I hadn't gone up and just tried to grow personally, I feel like I would have been doing a disservice. So I just kind of set out. I tried to do as many things I could, that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And because of that, I didn't see the fact that we were going to be missing prom and missing the graduation ceremony. I saw those as a short-term inconvenience almost. Obviously, it's a very terrible situation, and people are passing away because of the fact that the coronavirus. But
it's not like your life should go on pause because.
That's sort of where I'm getting at. That's sort of the way I viewed it from the get-go, and I just kind of set out to try and grow. I guess that's the only way I could put it, is just grow, learn new things, and yeah. So I didn't really view those particular things as something that kind of disturbed me, and I just,
You just rolled with it.
I just rolled with it, yeah.
Just just went with the flow.
Basically, that was sort of my gist. Because if I knew for a fact that if I stood still and reached a stalemate, then everything would have been 10 times worse.
Yeah, man. That's a good point. I don't know how about missing prom and stuff. I mean, the leaving ceremony, I think I've already told you, but I've been there twice. You've been there like twice too, right?
Oh yeah.
You've been there. You volunteered there, I think.
Yeah, I was filming the event.
Yeah, and then I went because of my sister, and then I went again because of band. So, and it's super boring, man. You sit there for like 2-3 hours.
Yeah, but
nothing.
At the same time, though, the graduation, surface level wise, it's a very long and, as you said, boring event. But I think emotionally speaking, it's sort of it's a lid, it's like, okay, so you're done, you're finished, and it's sort of that it's that
like the icing on the cake.
Exactly. And it's yeah, that's a good way to put it. And for most people, the fact that was taken away, I'm sure it would have been like a huge emotional burden for sure.
Oh, for
Imagine working towards something for years, basically your entire life, and it being taken away from you just at the snap of a finger, completely unexpectedly. It's a pretty big burden to carry. And
well, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but because like, I think what we're working towards for our entire lives so far is to graduate high school, right? And I think that all the prom, leaving ceremony and stuff is just like a small part of that graduation.
Oh no, I have to agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like if you base your values and happiness of your success off of prom and leaving ceremony, then you're bound to be sad, right?
Absolutely.
So I feel like this just makes us appreciate something. I lost my train of thought.
No.
Are you getting what I'm saying right now?
100%.
Picking up what I'm putting down?
Absolutely.
All right,
Because
cool.
it really depends on how many eggs we put into each basket. Because people have been putting all their eggs into this one basket, which is graduation and all the traditions. Some people have for their entire lives, like one at a time. Like maybe like as each year passes and they put down a certain amount of eggs, and it piled up, and basically the moment the pandemic arose and the fact that everything was canceled, that basket just fell and everything broke. It's a terrible feeling, and it really depends. It's an individualistic case because some people may have not even cared about it at all. Maybe some people just didn't invest any resources or any emotional attachment to it whatsoever, and it just didn't affect them. It really depends, and it also depends on how you value school, so it's a very open-ended thing, but yeah, like for us, I think you and me, it's more so something that just it was something that we recognize as a tragedy.
It's just an inconvenience to me. Is it an inconvenience to you?
It's okay. So like
something else.
It's a tragedy in the sense that like we've been waiting for it, like whether you like it or not, whether you have any investment into it at all, we still waited for it technically. Yeah. So the fact that was taken away, that's crappy. But I think in terms of what we can control, which is the way we react to it, you and I reacted to it sort of in a passive, like, okay, so this happened. How do we go with the flow? How do we readjust?
Yeah. I don't know. Some people are probably devastated.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I feel you. People out there who are like, no, my prom. I picked I feel for the girls especially. They brought those beautiful dresses.
For
right?
sure, man.
Those dresses cost hundreds of dollars.
Absolutely.
And they don't even get to wear them. That kind of sucks. Meanwhile, for guys, if you buy a suit, right, then you can wear it for interviews and stuff. But you don't go wearing a prom dress to an interview, at least. I don't think you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what have you been up to?
What have you been?
Like, how have you been spending your time?
I've just been playing games.
Oh.
I mean, I finished all my homework, right?
Yeah.
Nothing to do, so I've just been playing games. I work out occasionally.
Ooh, alright.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to do.
I
mean, you're going out, you got a passion, right? You're going out filming and stuff. But like...
Shit, I mean, you got drumming.
Bro, I can't
just drum all day.
I can't play drums in my house, man.
What do you mean?
Like,
you got the electric kit.
It's broken.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least you can practice.
Just hit it.
Just air. Or you could just come over to my place, man. You could use my hi-hat and my snare.
But like it's not like the full experience, man. It's not the full set. You gotta get a bass drum or like the kick, and like a ride cymbal or something.
I want to get a ride.
Get a ride?
Because I think jazz. It can fit. I think it can fit. Yeah. And also like when you stomp on the stand, I think that acts as the
fills in for the kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think if you move your glass cases down that way, what are you trying to do there again? Build like a full scale sculpture?
Oh yeah, so basically I'm gonna get a full size mannequin. And
yeah, that's so. Someone walks into your house and sees that thing, they're gonna scream, bro.
No, that's the point though.
But you want to scare people.
No. Not that I want to scare people, but I want to, like, when people walk through the doors, right? Yeah. I want there to be a reaction, a sense of, oh my god, like a reaction in terms of, oh my goodness, I've never seen that before. And basically what I want to do is
mannequin in someone's basement.
A full-scale mannequin with all original gear from head to toe. So helmet, I already got most of it, but I still need to get pants, which is kind of ironic because it's like the least sort of, I don't know, it's the least rarest thing.
Are you gonna get boots?
Yeah, I got the boots. Yeah, actually, in fact, I got them right here. Anti-spike boots because they had punji sticks and traps. We're talking about the Vietnam War, by the way, right now. So like Vietnam War used helmet, flak jacket, web gear, bayonet, boots, of course. There's also a bunch of other dog tag stuff like that. So I just want to have a full size impression of a typical grunt from the Vietnam War sitting there. But because of that, I can't move down the glass cases to fit a bigger kit.
I don't know if the mannequin's gonna take up that much room though.
Well, here's the thing. The thing about a big kit is that it's gonna produce so much sound that the entire neighborhood is gonna call the FBI and have them storming through my house. I'm not even joking. Like when we did that last time, you and I, when I had the guitar out and we started going all out on the drums and the guitar. That like we had the window open too, which is right beside the basement. I'm sure people all the way even in your neighborhood heard, bro. Like I'm sure of it. Like it was probably that loud. So imagine having us crash, a ride, a kick. People are gonna start smashing down the window.
Bruh.
That's why I intentionally made that stand a little small because I wanted to
limit yourself. Because I know. Well, if you see a kit, will you grab it? If you have enough space.
Probably.
Yeah. So you're thinking ahead right there. I see you. They're like limiting yourself.
Just remove the temptation.
Yeah. God. Dang. That'd be nice to get a full kit though. Do some stuff. Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, we went to the protest on Friday. How did you feel about like what they were saying there? You didn't really. I mean, you focused more on filming, right? But did you hear some of it?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. The thing about, because you and I were there almost as observers, and I don't like. We always, you and I have a specific opinion and position on the matter, but it was sort of a special instance in terms of we have our own perspective, but at the same time we're acting as observers and not active, I guess, participators in that moment. So for 90% of the time we were taking pictures, filming, and basically we're making you're probably already familiar with this if you're hearing this, but we're making a documentary, and we started it all the way back in like February, March on the coronavirus, and it sort of evolved into like real-time events.
Wasn't like originally black and white?
Yeah. It was originally all in black and white.
Are you gonna like switch midway through the video?
Basically, that's. I mean, it's gonna be really disorienting. It's gonna be disorienting. It's like what? But I think like it's pretty like I in my opinion it's gonna give off the sense that this has been going on for a while. Like the fact that we started this all the way in March and now it's like June and almost July. So if the entire thing was black and white, I feel like there wouldn't have been as big of a contrast. But anyways, yeah. So my position on the case. So
you're stepping on minefields, Joe. So you gotta be a little careful. People are gonna flip out if you say the wrong thing.
Well, the Black Lives Matter protests as a whole, I respect and support in many, many ways. The fact that everyone is coming together and protesting against one certain issue that's clearly relevant and prominent in Western culture, that's not something that happens here like once in a blue. It happens very rarely, and especially in this large of a scale. So that in and of itself says a lot about us as, how do I articulate this? It says a lot in terms of our values and our morals and how far we go to get our voice heard. And it's a true human testament, I respect that wholeheartedly. And when we were at the protest, actually, it was it was visceral. Like the energy that you felt there, and the fact that everyone was all in the same moment and speaking up against the same issue and joining arms. I don't know. It was a very interesting and almost inspiring stuff. I'm not sure how how you observed it, but that's sort of what I got from it. And I was like, well, and yeah, and talking about the riots, like the riots and like and the more extreme violence related protests that are occurring in the States. In many ways, the first connection I made when I started hearing about the raids and the protests and the really aggressive I guess riots that were going on in the States, the first connection I made was the 1992 LA riots. And they're practically identical in terms of the 92 LA riots that were going on in the States. It was also sparked by an initial death caused by a police officer of a black person, and due to that, of course the protest started, and then it kind of got out of hand at that point in terms of stores being raided and people taking advantage of it. So looking at history, what we know for a fact is that when something as serious as this occurs in terms of the social stigma surrounding it and everyone coming to arms, I feel like in many ways it's mind-boggling in the sense that some people are viewing this situation as, okay, so let's take advantage of the complete chaos that's going on and start raiding businesses, raiding institutions, destroying certain systems and such, like issues clearly that are completely unrelated to the riots and the protests. I feel like in many ways there are certain groups of people that are taking complete advantage of that, and I view that as a problem. And obviously the original message and the original protesting that's going on, that's very necessary, and that's very that's obviously very relevant. However, all the whiplash that occurs afterwards is very unnerving and bizarre to observe, and it's completely unrelated in my opinion, and because of that there's a lot of problems that arise from it. So that's just kind of what I've been observing.
I don't know, when I was there, when you were filming on like the other end, like when you were filming with your color film all the way on the other side of the thing, and I was on the other side of the field, when like I managed to talk to some people, and what I found was that most of them were protesting. They were protesting for equality amongst black people, and I'm not too educated. I'm not too educated on the subject, so if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But from what I could see, from what I heard from them, is that they don't know, or like they're protesting, but they don't know the solution for the problem, right? They're just throwing ideas such as we want equality, defund the police, all that stuff, but they don't know how that specifically is going to solve the problem, right? For example, defunding the police. I don't see how that is going to help, right? Some people want the police to be gone entirely, and I saw this post online that says, we like get rid of the police, and then instead of police, put in social workers, put in community workers, put in like, and I even saw Planned Parenthood in there, and it's like, are you saying that if there's a hostage situation, you want Planned Parenthood to come in and save you? It's like, no, dude. And I get it. The police system right now, it sucks. The police, for the amount of power that they have, they don't get nearly as much education that they're supposed to. They only get a couple hours a year of training in live combat situations. So when this actual scenario comes about, they don't know what to do. So they panic. They get emotional. They get emotionally attached to the event that is happening, and they irrationally act, which causes problems and deaths, unfortunately. So what I think should happen instead is that we should, in fact, give more money to the police. We should fund them even more, so that this way they can get the proper education that they need, so that we can help them train better and better prepare themselves for scenarios. And I think this was also mentioned on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm not too sure, but yeah. I think that what people should be doing right now is instead of merely protesting the problem, find a solution to it. And I'm sure they mentioned this somewhere during the speech during the entire protest, but we probably missed it because we were busy filming. So I feel like, I don't know, it's a touchy subject. It's a weird subject.
I couldn't agree with you more in regards to the defund the police notion, because defunding the police, I think one of the messages they're going for is distributing the amount of money that's being funded to, in this case, the RCMP, and distributing it to more important and relevant issues such as education.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. In terms of defunding the police, as far as just completely getting rid of the police force, I definitely see where people come from in terms of seeing that as the solution and seeing that as just completely taking the root of the problem and ripping it out and throwing it into the garbage. Of course, the logical issue of that, though, is that you need a police system to govern
the laws.
A state. If you don't have a police system, then that's the literal definition of anarchy. Nothing will be in order, and it'll be 10 million times worse than it is now. That's basically the only layer that's preventing a full-on anarchy situation. For example, in the US right now, is the fact that they do have, of course, the police system in many ways is corrupt. We all know that, and there's many imperfections. There's many issues deeply seated in the police force. Like you mentioned, though, striving for a solution in forms such as pushing for much more training, much more hours devoted to fully training the officers and allowing them to, fully allow them to encapsulate all the training, all the guidelines, and basically allow and make them more well-rounded. Maybe the solution, in fact, like you mentioned, is to simply adjust how the police officers are trained and the system behind it. Because at the end of the day, the officers are greatly influenced by the way they're brought up in that system. So if that is changed, if the policies are adjusted, then that could therefore change what the results are. So I see, in terms of solutions, I see that as the biggest candidate instead of removing the entire force outright.
Yeah, I think one of the main roots of this problem is just the education system itself. Like it's such a flawed way of teaching kids. For especially in elementary school, they teach you things like social studies, they teach you things like math and all that stuff, but they don't teach you anything about social interactions at all. So the main people who dictate your ideals on society itself is mainly your parents. So if your parents are, well, racist, then their child is bound to pick up on some of those racist ideas and grow up with them and therefore act on them when they have the power to do so. So I feel like that elementary schools especially, they don't do enough to, well, take care of kids. Because we learn about residential schools, and I think we learned a little bit about it in grade 7, but we didn't actually, like, learn about it, you know what I'm saying? So, like, they gave us the idea that, colonizers nearly wiped out the culture of indigenous people, right? And then we learned more about that in grade 9, grade 10, but we never fully grasped the brutality of the situation when we were young. And when we are young is when we are most influenced by the people older than us. So I feel like it should be the teacher's job to embed the idea that being like in this case, being racist is bad in those young children, and is like, or something. I'm not too sure. So I don't know what can be done. Like, I just feel like schools aren't doing enough to prepare kids to be good people in society.
Right. In my opinion, the teachers and the schools as a whole, I don't think it's the school's responsibility to act on that. I think the amount of influence the government has on the school and the way they've structured it has been the biggest issue.
Yeah, so,
because like the school is sort of the like the deliverer of all the information. However, the people behind what gets delivered and what gets received by the students is completely influenced, and I feel like the people behind it are the greatest influence, because teachers I think
when I talk about schools, I'm referring to like the education system as a whole.
Because I think teachers in and of itself, they're very intelligent. They know for a fact that their education, the way they teach, they have a great responsibility on their shoulders. It's actually mind-blowing the more you think about it. They truly do not get enough appreciation. I'll hold on to that idea for the rest of my life probably. But it's very unfortunate that they're being given so little to work off of, not only on a financial standpoint but also in terms of the areas they're able to teach and how much they're able to teach and how little time they have to teach it. There's just so much there's so much limitations to what teachers can actually do, and it's all based on bureaucracy, you know? It's very, the school system, it's not, the majority of it isn't there to maximize the fullest possible potential of what schools can do. That's not it. 99% of it is bureaucracy. It's the government, it's the system, and due to that, it's so limiting. There's so much more policies and things that these people have to achieve in terms of their agendas and you know, all these other gains that are completely unrelated to education that are influencing the system. And it's very unfortunate. And no, I completely agree with you in terms of when we're young, that's when we are most vulnerable, you know? That's when we are soaking the most information, especially from people that are older than us. And it's extremely important that people, besides our parents, also have a good influence. And if we're jam-packed in a classroom with 30 or so other people that are completely perhaps against you in some shape or form, or that you just don't fit in really well with, then that's it. Like, you're dealt the cards and you have no control over it. So if anything, our childhoods and the way we grow up and our personalities are completely dictated by the system. And it's very sad. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the main arguments that should be presented in the protest is educational reform. I'm not sure how, so I won't really push it, but that's I think an idea that someone could jump off of, because I feel like the government, they don't really care about this. They're just gonna do whatever it takes to, appease the citizens in this case. So I feel like if we just ask for equality, right, then they'll just do the bare minimum. The government, in this case, they're not willing to spend their time and money on this subject. They just want more power, right? So they're gonna do the bare minimum if we just ask for equality. That's why I feel like we should give out specific demands, such as some sort of educational reform, and or other things. I'm not too sure on what those things are, but
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, man. You think? Yeah, it's kind of weird, eh? It's tough.
We're experiencing all this change and all these series of events that are going on around us as we're graduating. I think that in and of itself is a very bizarre and eye-opening experience. I don't think we're ever going to forget this, especially since this is all going on at a point in our lives where we're probably most vulnerable, well, at least the most vulnerable we felt since we were 10 years old or something. Because for the last 4 years, we've been so accustomed to all these routines, all the familiarities of school and, all that jazz. And the fact that we're at this vulnerable state and all these situations and all these events are going on, it's weird timing for sure.
2020 is a crazy year, dude. There's a World War III thing, near World War III thing. There's the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah.
There's these Black Lives Matter protests. It's tough.
Yeah.
And I feel like society is going to be changed by the time all of this settles down.
Here's the thing, though. Imagine you were 5 years old and you didn't have the mental capacity to understand what was going on in the world, and being stripped away from all the social contact that you so desperately need as someone that's really young, and not being able to understand it. I think the fact that we're 18-year-old, or wait, no, you're still 17.
Yeah.
Get out of here, 17 years.
You're legal adult.
Oh my
Get the
God.
fuck out of here.
Okay. Yeah, so the fact that we're at this stage in our lives,
laws apply to you, but you don't get to do any adult stuff.
oh
Get
my
out of here,
God.
Joseph.
Hopefully that'll change soon.
Another year. Maybe we'll take another year.
Yeah, so the fact that we're at this stage in our lives and we're able to fully understand and grasp what's going on and respond to it emotionally, I think that in and of itself is a blessing. Because for those younger people, I feel infinitely remorseful for them.
I don't know.
Because they're in such a they're in such an early stage in their lives, and it's a point where there are certain needs that need to be met constantly for them to have a proper and healthy childhood, yet those are being stripped away. So, and at the same time they're not able to comprehend this, so those might actually have long lasting effects on their personality and the way they grew up. So I feel very empathetic for them.
I see what you mean. Like, can it jump off of that idea? Like, personally for me, when I was, even now, even in like last year in grade 11, 2 or 3 months was enough to completely change me. Like, for example, in like grade 9, grade 10, my confidence levels were like -5. Negative 5 out of 1,000. and then in just 2 months, it jumped up to like a 2. That's kind of crazy. Nah. Nah, I'm kidding. It jumped up quite a bit, and I learned how to speak for myself and do things on my own in those couple months. Needless to say, when I was a child in elementary school, when I was 10, 9, I changed in a matter of weeks. But look at these kids missing out on such important social interactions. I think one of the most important things about school is interacting with your peers and adults.
Absolutely. Because
those are valuable skills for the future when you go to get a job or just existing in society. So I feel like for kids for whom that time moves slower and that every second counts, like these couple months that they've missed out on are big. they're major. Yeah. And like you said, I empathize with them. But at the same time, I feel like, then again, kids are kids. So they might, just in September, they might jump back. They might go back to their energetic selves, like they missed nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who can say what happens? There are probably going to be some kids who jump back, act like nothing happened, and there are probably some other kids who have missed a very important part of social growth and personal growth. And it sucks. But then again, who can say what the future holds?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a complicated subject.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, times are tough. Times are tough. We gotta start worrying about taxes and money, too. So we gotta start worrying about taxes and money.
We gotta start having our own responsibilities now.
I know. We can't. If we do something illegal, we're not gonna get laid off.
We're gonna be tried as an adult.
Yeah. Consequences actually matter now. Well, for you, not me. 17 years old.
Outta here.
Man, I'm turning 18 in August though, so I'll be at your level someday. And I'll be.
For now, I'm just gonna be looming over your head.
You're gonna be looming. You don't understand, Ryan. You don't understand the pain and suffering of an adult. Adulthood. Scary thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess that concludes
the very first episode
of Coffee and Cigarettes.
Why did we split that up?
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. I think that closed off our thoughts and what we've sort of been building up towards for a while pretty nicely. And from here on out, we're going to have specific discussions that we're going to be talking about. Next episode, we'll most likely be talking about graduation regrets or high school regrets or just regrets in general.
Oh, shoot. Yo, you want to do that? You want to, do stuff to actively get rid of those regrets?
Do stuff to actively get rid of those regrets?
Them. Yeah.
Well, we haven't identified them yet.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So identify them tomorrow.
And then act upon them.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, cool. Okay. Well, if you've been listening this long,
thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
We appreciate that you find our topics interesting and somewhat listenable.
Yeah, and just remember...
I think I should open up ASMR. Please hit me up.
And yeah, just remember, you can have us playing in the background. You don't even have to be actively listening to us. You can just have us...
listen to our voices.
Yeah, maybe just, if you're about to fall asleep, just start playing us and just...
And be like, Joseph and Ryan, man. Damn, their voices are smooth.
No. They're going to be like, these guys' voices are so monotone.
He's like, what the fuck is... These guys are so shit at podcasting, man. What is this? What is this garbage? And then go into Joe Rogan or something. I wouldn't doubt it. But if you stuck with... How long have we been recording?
50 minutes? We've been recording for 50 minutes, yeah.
50 minutes? If you've been sticking around for 50 minutes, I don't know what you're doing. Why do you have so much time? But good for you.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay. All right. Well, that just about completes our very first episode. So, I guess we'll be signing off, and hopefully we'll see you in the next episode. Jesus Christ.
We'll see you
in the next episode tomorrow.
Yes, sir. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.